Hello, friends. I'm Sarah Cruz with Embrace Ayurveda, and I have my dear friend Tami HAFZALLA here with us today. I've known Tami for quite a few years, and we actually met through Ayurveda years ago. And I feel like Ayurveda and yoga has been such a foundation of our friendship, and Tami offers so many beautiful tools and gifts and services coming from the yoga and Ayurveda tradition. I'm just excited to share Tami with you all today. Welcome, Tami.
Thank you, Sarah. So lovely to be here with you.
Oh, thank
Thanks
you.
for having me.
Yeah, so you are based in Seattle and have a long journey with yoga and Ayurveda. You've been passionate about studying the Vedic sciences and sharing them with your students and clients for many years. And I'd love for you to share with us how you got on your path of yoga and Vedic sciences overall. What inspired you with these arts?
Yeah, thank you. I was introduced to yoga in college by a career counselor. I was studying psychology, and he named yoga as a way to reduce stress and, connect in this way to your breath. And it just really intrigued me. So I took my first yoga classes in college, in a little studio in Bellingham where I was living at the time, and was really attracted to it. But, a seed was planted, but it took time for that to sprout. I continued on with my psychology studies and work for some years, and then got really into traveling. And then sometime along the way, as I was traveling, I, would carry the heavy backpack and, would have to work to make money to keep traveling. And often it was waiting tables, this kind of thing. And so I just always had yoga in the background as a way to ease that stress in my body, stretching out after the travels or after this more laborious work. And then at some point I learned that, yoga is so much more than just physical. And I got really intrigued by the philosophy. And in January of 2000, did my first yoga teacher training. And this is where I was introduced to Ayurveda as a sister science. So it was really something new to me, but it made perfect sense and also intrigued me. And then I just started to dig in a little more, and then slowly that came. I was teaching yoga, so I've been teaching actively since about 2000, so 23 years. And the Ayurveda was more for me at the start, like to help just balance me, the nutrition and lifestyle practices that initially even you were quite instrumental in some of that, Sarah, sharing with me from really early on some really beautiful tips and tricks. And so that was really influential. And then, yeah, studies in India and studies here in the US with some really lovely Indian doctors that I've been inspired by through the years. And then slowly at some point, I also decided to take that extra step and be an Ayurvedic practitioner and study body work, and then bring it all in, because like we know they are sister sciences. They in some ways can't be separated, really complement each other. So I really love offering yoga and Ayurvedic services.
Beautiful, Tami. Well, I know that in the Seattle area, you've been a long-standing yoga teacher. People really look to you for guidance. They respect you. You're a teacher of teachers. You've been offering your teacher training for years. And now you're offering the Ayurvedic services in such a comprehensive way to serve your clients and your students even more deeply. So I really love when I see yoga practitioners embrace Ayurveda, and Ayurvedic practitioners include yoga in their teachings and their offerings. They really do go hand in hand. And I'm just curious, Tami, these days, what kind of things are you sharing with your clients in terms of Ayurvedic services?
Yeah, so it's been really lovely to be teaching in Seattle in yoga studios. And so a lot of lecture workshop type classes like Ayurvedic series, for example, where we really dig in to self-care and ways of nourishing ourselves as a group. And then, of course, individual consultations. I love to work in classroom settings, but I also really love to work individually one-on-one with people and really dig into their personal needs. And so the consultations, different forms of body work, Abhyanga massage, this lovely warm oil massage, Shirodhara, this lovely bliss therapy where we nourish the nervous system through the warm oil, just, pouring so sweetly at the third eye. And so just these lovely techniques of nourishing self-care and teaching people how to do that, even for themselves, some of these things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I imagine many of your yoga students who come to you for services maybe have never experienced some of these things before, like the Shirodhara or the Abhyanga. And I can imagine they just love it so much that it's just right in line with their practice and what's important to them, and just helps them feel better in their body overall. I feel like, Ayurveda and yoga are really for everyone, for every person out there, if they choose to explore those paths. But I would love to kind of talk with you about like what you've seen Ayurveda bring into the life of a person who's practicing yoga, like the life of a yogi. If they haven't brought Ayurvedic things into their life and then they do, what might they experience or expect?
Yeah. So early on in my yoga studies and different programs, I was part of a community, for example, that was so deep in the yoga that, a lot of times they're, just only eating raw food, or they're only exploring like juice fasts. And because the yoga is such a primary focus, like they just want to be really light for the yoga, they want the consciousness to be really light for the meditation. And so as we know, yoga and Ayurveda are sisters and not twins. And so yoga can be its own sort of ascetic path unto itself. And so when I was first really practicing and studying quite, diligently, I was sort of in that community where we're getting up super, super early to practice and sit in meditation and do pranayama and practice for maybe 4 to 6 hours, the asanas a day. And so I had people in my community, women that were actually losing their menstrual cycles and really getting into imbalanced states, and that this was sort of a norm in the yoga community, actually, that sometimes if you're practicing so hard, you're just not eating as much, or you're, the body is thrown off balance in a different way. And so when I really brought Ayurveda in for my own life and started to share with students, I can see the need for that in the yoga community specifically, to bring them to a state of balance, that it's not just, the thing that's truly shared by yoga and Ayurveda is this idea and mind, body, spirit paradigm. When that is in balance, we are in health and wellness and a state of harmony, and both share that. But a lot of times in the name of yoga, people are actually throwing off maybe their body rhythms and body needs. And so Ayurveda really came in to support me personally. And then I can see it started to support members of my community too, as I was sharing and bringing it in a more wholehearted way. So I feel like that was really one of the main turning points of my path as a yoga practitioner. And then I just wanted to really bring that forward to everyone I serve, because there's a need. Ayurveda can really assist us as we're living in the world. And we don't have to go to the mountaintop for it. Like we can be in our everyday lives, and practice turns into just even mindfully chopping vegetables. And practice can be just mindfully preparing a meal with love for your family. And so this is what I really love about Ayurveda. It's such a practical way of being. And yeah, we can live it in a wholehearted way. It doesn't, just it's so different to this ascetic kind of path of, spiritual practice.
Yeah, well,
Much
I
more.
really see you walking the talk, Tami, really living these teachings. And I love what you shared about how these practices can be brought into our everyday modern lives in whatever environment we're living. We don't have to be in a retreat in the mountains to experience these things, but it's really about bringing the essence of these teachings into every moment of our lives. And ultimately, when we are moving toward homeostasis or internal balance, then we can better serve the world, right? We can better fulfill our dharma or our purpose or be of service when we're in harmony internally. And that's what I love so much about these sciences too, is that it brings us back to ourselves, and then we can serve from a broader place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I would love to hear, and just to let everybody know, Tami not only is a much loved and revered yoga teacher in the Seattle area, but she's an international yoga teacher star. And, and Tami has some retreats coming up this summer in Turkey. I don't know if you have any in the Northwest at this time, but can you tell us about your upcoming yoga retreats, Tami?
Yeah, I'm so happy that we can travel internationally again. And I was able to do that last summer. I got to teach in both Turkey and Spain last summer. And this year I have 2 retreats in Turkey. And the first one is the 10th through the 26th of August. In one location in a mountainous valley near the Mediterranean coast. And then the second is August 28th through September 4th. And this one is along a river that's also near the Mediterranean coast. And there's ruins near that second venue. And it's stunning. I've been to both places numerous times. Actually, I've had the great blessing of having a sweet relationship with Turkey and the retreat center owners. And so I'm super happy to be going back, and welcome whoever would love to come.
Amazing. Well, Turkey has been high on my list of places to go. It just seems like it's such a conducive place for practice and introspection, and to get away and enjoy a different culture. And you've been there before many times. And yeah, I'm excited about that. One day I will join you in Turkey.
Yeah, I hope so, Sarah.
And so aside from those upcoming retreats, can you just share with us the services that you're offering now, and also maybe what's next in your practice, what people can look forward to and how they can connect with you?
Yeah, so I have a small home studio where I teach privates and do the Ayurvedic work. And so love to have whoever would be interested come and meet me and enjoy this beautiful space. And then I have a couple studios in Seattle that I teach for, and have various projects that I do, guiding some Ayurvedic cleanse or various workshops in town. And so I really love this work so much. I love to be in service, and just happy to be in my community in Seattle and of service. So
yes, and I know a lot of different kinds of people come to you as students, all different kinds of people. And I know also a lot of moms and women come to you, and that sometimes you offer special workshops for women and women's health. You could say a little about that. That would be great too.
Yeah, I really love serving women because obviously I have an affinity and an understanding of what it is to be a woman in the different chapters of a woman's life. Just these maiden years, and then the mother chapter, and going into our wise women years. And so I'm always intrigued by these lifetimes, even that one woman's life will embody. So yeah, I love to hold space and explore what women may be going through at any given time. And motherhood is a challenging, blissful journey. It's all of it, the joys, the losses of motherhood, giving all that you can, loving with all of your might, and then just, holding it with, these wide open palms of, just letting your bird soar. And so there's a lot of letting go. And, this is a spiritual practice, actually, and in line with so much of what we study in the Vedic sciences, actually. So I perceive all of this as practice in some levels. And yeah, just to be with whatever is and move through it as gracefully as one can. And so, yeah, just holding space for that.
Such wise words, Tami, to be with what is and moving through it as gracefully as we can, because not all moments are graceful, but we can always come back to ourselves and our practice and just being with what is. I think, yeah, that's just the essence of so much of what we learn in these teachings. And it's true that motherhood is such a dynamic playing field for these teachings from yoga and Ayurveda. And we both have young teenage children. And I'm hoping that some of what we do will rub off on them. Who knows, they're their own people. But my daughter recently has been asking more questions about Ayurveda. I'm so delighted. I haven't been like pushing it on her, just letting her kind of observe. We'll see where it goes, but that's a wish for sure. So yeah, I'm just we can only hope.
Boy, who was so active and athletic, and all I can just beg him to please stretch and move and your energy a little more. Yeah. So we have to offer what we can and let them receive what they will.
Tami, you're such a beautiful gem in the yoga and Ayurveda Seattle community and international community. And I'm just so honored to call you my friend and my colleague. And as we complete here, do you have any words of wisdom, or would you like to share anything you've been thinking about or contemplating in your own life? Just different ideas that you might have, or words of wisdom.
Yeah, I mean, these days, something I've been thinking about a lot is just nourishing our nervous systems, actually. This is something I've been really sitting with and thinking about, even for myself. And just, life after the pandemic and just how, we were isolated, we were really frazzled, we were using devices much more, and even the pace of the modern world, and the pace of technology and all the information input. Sometimes we just need just this time for exhale and to center ourselves and have deep rest, but in a wakeful state. So I've been thinking a lot about yoga nidra and yin yoga and restorative yoga and massage, receiving massage, and like the warm oil and Shirodhara. I'm just thinking about all the ways in which we can find that nervous system reset. So this is something I've been contemplating and thinking about. Meditation, of course, breath work, of course. There are so many tools. And I'm encouraging my students and clients just to explore working a little slower and a little deeper. For many, many years, I've taught more of a dynamic style of yoga, which I also really love, and strength building and just to maintain our vitality, especially as we're aging. And so I really love that. At the same time, we have to balance that out. And I feel a call to it more these days. Yeah. So that's just something I've been thinking about. Yeah. Thanks for asking, Sarah.
Such a need for that right now, more than ever, nourishing Vata, nourishing the nervous system, slowing down. And if people want to find out about how to get in touch with you, when your classes are, how to book a service, how can they find you?
Yeah, my website is probably the best way, and all my contact is through the website. And even there's some online scheduling, and it's just bhakti-flow.com, BHAKTI -flow, FLOW.com.
Great. And I'll also include that in the show notes down below. Tami, it's been such a joy sitting with you today and just hearing about your journey with yoga and Ayurveda, and just sending you lots of love today. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Sarah. Thank you so much, love.